politicians make a lot of promises on the campaign trail, but this one is a little different. So a Tennessee Republican running for state house is vowing that if he's elected, he will never be in a room alone with another woman that isn't his wife. What? Oh, okay. This guy's name is David Hooven. There's that photo of him. And he is laying out a whole host of codes of conduct for himself that sound really fundamentalist. So let's take a look. Now, on his website, he says that he's going to honor God, which is like cool. I hope you represent the people of your district. And he has a long list of specific things of what he's gonna do. A couple of them are like, okay, that's fine. Number 4, he says, I will not be bought. My reputation after a lot of mistakes is all I have in the end. After a lot of mistakes, okay, like put that in the parking lot or whatever, table that. I have enough to live on now. And if I can make a difference for anyone that wants to be part of our great nation, I will do all my power to help them. 5, I will not continue in office for more than 8 years. To this end, I will sign my resignation, if elected, the first day in office, to come home at the end of that time, or if not elected, a second term, and that will not be an issue. Okay, so he's giving himself term limits immediately, but then this list kind of goes off the rails. So number 9, he says, I will have a panel of trusted advisors to hold me accountable. In Washington, as in every other area, there are temptations that kill a person's ability to think clearly. These are shown in the media every day. I promise to set up systems to protect me from me. What? 10, systems to protect me from me? Number 10, I hope this is less weird. I will never be in a meeting, room, or other place with a member of another sex without having another person with me. Adultery has ruined many a man, and the more power or attention, the more this attack is ready. Yes, from presidents to janitors are all tempted. As Billy Graham was never in a scandal due to his establishing principle, so shall I. Apparently the Billy Graham principle is something where you can't be in a room, again, with a woman who's not your wife. If you heard of former Vice President Mike Pence, whose wife he calls mother, he also follows that principle and is not in a room without his, which is weird because I feel like I haven't seen enough photos of Mike Pence and his wife together, but I'll put that aside. You guys, by the way, I think he is actually running for Congress. This isn't just in Tennessee. He sees Washington as a place that is rife with temptresses. They're like sirens, you guys. There's just ladies and they're just beckoning you to cheat on your wives, and his panel of advisors will hold him accountable. Why do we need this?
Yeah, I'm a little torn about this guy. I think this story is a little bit nuanced. So there's some chance he's like the worst of them. He's like, I need people protected from me, right? You're like, whoa, why? What's going on, big guy? But I think there's some chance that he's just like weirdly super earnest. Like, who writes, I promise to set up systems to protect me from me, let alone you guys from me, but please elect me? But he has a bunch of things about how he's against corruption and wants to make sure that, that he can't get tempted by money. And I'm like, all right, okay, I kind of like it. The whole signature thing, so that I'm definitely gonna resign 8 years from, because Ted Cruz and so many others are like term limits. And then when they get to the point where they would have to resign, they're like, yeah, I meant term limits for other people, right? This guy is already resigning before he even won. There's something about me that I'm like, I don't know, he's not in my culture, right? I'm not in this like super religious fundamentalist culture, but I'm not sure I sense evil here. I just sense like a funny dude that's like weirdly earnest, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting suckered here.
He's talking too much. I just want to go to one of the things that he promised. By the way, it is the state house, okay? It's not the US Congress, even though he was talking about Washington. To Jeng's point, he was saying, I will have a trusted member handle all money I receive and provide full disclosure of my finances to anyone. The love of money is the root of all evil. I know I must protect myself from this tempting issue. Now, Jordan, does that make you feel more confident if you were in his district, or does that make you more worried if you were in his district?
I'm off put by all of this, and I think the fact that he's articulating it at the outset makes me even more suspicious. Like, obviously, the not being alone in the room with someone of another sex is weird to begin with, but looking past the obvious misogyny, it's just like, why articulate that? If he wants to point to Billy Graham or Mike Pence, sure. But then you couple that with there's all these temptations and then to what Cenk pointed out, all of my mistakes. I mean, does this person just have a problem with different vices? And if so, like, probably even you should not be in this position to begin with. Just the fact that he's laying it all out there and talking about the great lengths he'll go to remind himself of these principles he's established strike me as very odd and ultimately a desperate attempt to get elected, because it'll probably work on some people.
Yeah, that's interesting. So now I'll give the opposite side. I said there's some percentage chance this guy's just different culturally, he's religious, I'm not, etc. Might be earnest. Now the other side of the argument is he's like, now I need to be. You can't trust me with me, right? Like, what are you, a werewolf? Like, don't leave me in the room with you, especially if there's a full moon, right? And then getting serious. Like, these guys have a different view that it's hard for me to relate to. Like, they're like, well, if you leave me to my own devices, well, obviously I would attack the woman I'm in the room with if my wife isn't there. And obviously I would lie and cheat and steal your money if you don't have some sort of protection against it. Is that obvious?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it assumes that people are so immoral. And in my experience, yeah, some people are deeply immoral, but a lot of people are really good people. So I think it's a mixed bag, but their assumption about humanity is so much darker than my assumption, even though I'm an atheist and they're religious. You see what I'm saying?
No, I think that's a really, really good point. And it's why fundamentalism and religious fundamentalism is scary anyway, because that's exactly right. It's saying, like, without these protections, I am like a craven, like philandering, money laundering psycho. Like, and you have to keep tabs on me because this is, and also it's sort of bizarrely, look, if you believe in God and God created man in his image, I mean, that's Christian, but no matter what God or what passage, it's like, do you think your God's gonna create something in someone so awful and horrible they have to be kept from themselves? But I do think this is part and parcel of what fundamentalism does to people who might legitimately be struggling and or be predators, which is all you gotta do is ask for forgiveness, tell everyone you kind of have these tendencies and they should keep you from yourself, and then it's all gravy. You don't gotta dig in, you don't gotta actually change your ways, you don't have to, you just put in all these checks and balances, you become powerful enough so no one can really, like, I don't know, hold you accountable. It feels actually way scarier than it does feel like an overture to his voters. Which, by the way, I just have to say, he may be elected. This isn't a September special election, excuse me. He's gonna face Afton Bain in the general. He won uncontested in the Republican primary. She won her primary with 5,259 votes against 4,579 votes for her fellow Democrat and interim state representative Anthony Davis. So it's Afton Bain versus dude who probably can't be on the debate stage with Afton Bain without his wife present.
I hadn't thought of that. How close does she have to sit in the stands? I mean, if she's all the way in the back of the auditorium, might the werewolf come out? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. But look, we'll say one more serious thing, building off of what Francesca was just saying. We were at Current TV, Young Turks was, and then Al Jazeera bought it. And this is not the experience of everyone who's worked at all the different Al Jazeeras, okay? There's AJ Plus, there's Al Jazeera English, there was Al Jazeera America, etc. But in my experience, there was one of the reasons I left was one of the people that worked there was going to go have a business meeting at Starbucks, at the local Starbucks or something. And one of the executives there, who was a Muslim fundamentalist, said, no, we can't have a meeting where it's just me and you. Someone else has to accompany us because you can't just have a man and a woman in a room together. And So I don't think Christian fundamentalists understand how similar they are to Muslim fundamentalists.
Yeah.
They both think the same exact thing, and they both have a super dark view of men. I mean, they're more anti-men than Barbie is. By the way, Barbie's not anti-men. Anyways, but they really think like you leave a man in a room with a woman, well, obviously he'll attack her because all men are monsters. I just don't agree. And I think that's a super dark view of men and of humanity.
Again, it underscores how these people shouldn't be in positions of power. And in the business context, or even in the political context, when you have the proliferation of people who abide by this principle, all that does is disadvantage women in the workplace, whether it's politics or business or media or whatever. Like, this should be discouraged, not just because it's ludicrous, but especially because when you have that kind of a system, that really puts women at a disadvantage in the workplace. And that's just totally unfair.
Oh God, that's such a good point. And it's so important. And it is exactly like, what's gonna happen? Is his wife gonna be around all the time? Or are you just not going to promote and or take a meeting with that woman? And yeah, Cenk, that was not my experience at AJ Plus at all. But I think obviously there are many people abide by and subscribe to different versions of their own religion. And so that particular executive or person might have followed those rules. Some might have followed it with me, I just didn't know it. But yeah, it's ultimately, it serves a patriarchal, male-dominated work environment.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.